Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Yeah, it looks good. A little bright. Oh well. I have all the other lights on in the studio from recording some videos earlier. So usually I just have lights on overhead, but it looks so bright all around because I have all the lights on in the studio over here. But yeah. Special shout out to Dimitri, who showed or sent me a tutorial on this trick, which is popping up the comments. That's something I've watched Pathless Pedaled and Terry B do, and my Googling just was not finding a solution that I wanted. And Dimitri was the one who made it so I sent a tutorial that actually worked. So yeah, pretty simple. It's a Chrome extension. So you download from the Chrome App Store and then install it, copy and paste some URL in different spots, whatever. Either way, so you can probably see I've taken away the big chat window. I'd rather have more screen real estate. Let me know if that's a problem. From every app, version of YouTube I've looked at in every different spot, there should be a chat overlay, whether you're on a phone, a TV, or whatever. There should be a way to turn that on. There is a way to turn that on. So if you can't see a chat somewhere, you need to, somewhere on YouTube, open up the chat. Like I said, it even works on my Fire TV. So what's up, Blackball? Blackball was saying good fall ride. Yeah, it was windy here today too. But yeah, really nice. The temperature was really nice. I did a 100-mile ride, actually like 113 on Sunday, and same thing. Kind of overcast, really perfect temperature. So I love fall. It's my favorite season. The only thing is I just try not to think about the fact of that I don't like winter that much. So yeah. Yeah, right now only our earliest trees are changing, and then there's a little bit of color in the maples. So, what's up, Raymond? How's it going tonight? Yinzer up in here? Yinzer, I know you've been chatting in the Discord about wax chains. I have some stuff to add to the wax chain thing. I just have been too busy to do it in the Discord, so um, I will. But yeah, I've been having a few issues that I haven't liked that much, but maybe they're really specific that maybe get into later tonight even. What's up, Brick? The only problem with this chat overlay thing is it makes my chat gigantic, so I can't see like all the words. Large is up in here. I'm not using the Mac for the live stream. I'm using my old Dell that used to be my editing computer back in the day. But speaking of that, I want to test out the Mac. I bought a Mac laptop if you weren't here last week, and I've been a PC guy my whole life. But I want to test it out. So either tomorrow or Thursday, I might pop on here with a random stream because I need to see if everything works with the USB-C ports and create all the scenes to do a live stream with the MacBook so I could do some remote live streams. And one of my intentions with that for the first one is I think we're doing the bike swap on Saturday at 2 o'clock at Dirty River. So Saturday at 2 o'clock, I think I might bring the laptop and try and hopefully the Wi-Fi is strong enough, I think it would be, and stream the whole thing. And yeah, like once in a while I'll be talking to people, but once in a while I'll just let it run. So just, all afternoon and stuff, just have it live for fun. And so yeah, so either tomorrow or Thursday I might jump on. So if you get a notification that I'm live streaming, it's going to be a test of the Mac and getting it all set up so I could try it out on Saturday. Hey, what's up, Ed? Dylan's up in here. I do like that it shows the picture too. It must be the exact same thing that Pathless Pedaled and Terry B were using because it looks the same. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm glad to be doing the live streams again. Like I said, my busier schedule, I might miss a Tuesday once in a while, but my goal is to make it up later in the week if that's the case. I do have one more trip coming up. That'll be Higher Ground, Hundo, and that's on like the 14th or something, and then we're staying out east all the way until Nutmeg, so there'll be a week where I don't live stream, probably. I will have the Mac with me, but if the weather's good, we'll probably be out riding or hanging out or whatever, but it could be fun to pop on one, me, Aaron, Dylan, and Ben will have a Airbnb for a number of days, so. Hey, what's up, Jacob? You've taken the past 2 days off. Nice. I just rode to the bike shop tonight just to get out because I've been working on stuff around the studio. Picked up that saddle that is in the thumbnail. Explained that situation too. But yeah, my legs are still tired from Sunday's Century ride. So yeah. Raymond said finally stopped raining in NY. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of rain everywhere else. We've gotten lucky the last few days. Today looked like it was going to be a rainy day, and we just got a little bit of drizzle. They're saying showers tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. I don't get to do my normal group ride tomorrow because I have a photo shoot for the Land Conservancy. Yeah. So. Yinzer, you said you had a few wax issues yourself, but found some workaround. Yeah, I don't know if I have a workaround for mine. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Blackball Chris said finally some Mac friends. Yeah, it's funny. Dave's over here. He's working on some stuff on the other side. We've got some leaks and stuff like that. But I keep asking him questions about how to do stuff that seems really simple, but there's stuff that's so hard to Google about operating systems. You know what I mean? Like just finding the right words to find the problem. Actually, I've been using Bing, and with their built-in AI, sometimes it helps, but other times it's it's still finding those little key words that you need to get in there. Hey, what's up, Chris? Chris said fat bike season is coming. Yeah, studded tire season for me, I think. We never know when it's going to hit, though, so. What's up, Mono Lake? It's a greeting from California. Just got back from a short road and gravel ride. Good to finally get the chance to watch again. That's what'll be cool. I don't, like I said, with my schedule, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it, but I do like when I stream at random times because then it's like almost an entirely different crowd. And sometimes, you know, people from Europe that aren't able to pop in the streams because the time difference. So. Oh, Chris, you sound like funny Brad. You said you can go for about half an hour before sweating to death. Come on, 50s. Yeah, I don't. I never complain about the heat because I try to make the most of winter by riding year round and try not to think about it because winter's going to winter no matter what you think. But yeah, I'm a 60s, 70s guy. If I could just choose the temp I want things to be, I don't get overheated that easily. Like especially on the bike. Running was different, but like since I don't run anymore, riding like even if it's 90 and there's a little bit of shade, the breeze that you get from a bike ride is enough for me. But I definitely know people who feel like that. Dimitri said no live streams, just do daily video uploads. Barrett said, hey Tim, any thoughts on the Merriman Valley master plan? You know, I've looked at it a little bit, but to be honest, not as much detail as I should. And I even get the councilmen who will be the next mayor from that area's newsletters, and I always read through them, email newsletters, Shamus Malik. But I don't have a lot of good thoughts on it. I've read on Facebook people's opinions, and I need to dive a little deeper myself. There is supposed to be, the parks have talked about this, and I don't know what has stopped it. Summit County Metro Parks was supposed to take the old Chuckery race and continue from right by my studio, really, and turn High Bridge Trail into the Chuckery race, and that was supposed to be a connector between Cuyahoga Falls all the way down to the Cuyahoga Valley into the towpath. I think the fact that the Gorge Dam is going to come down is maybe why they stopped that process, because now they're pumping out all the sediment and the dam's going to come down. So now they're talking about Chestnut up here by me on the other side of me being the connector, which it's a road I'll ride, but I don't like riding that much. There's no way families are going to ride it. So yeah, that's out. That's not part of the master plan, but something I do need to look into more. Not that since I'm in the Falls, I don't have a voting say in it, but I do have the ear of a lot of friends who like the new mayor. So Eddie said, Maryland is all rain. Enjoy your dries. Yeah. Yeah, this week looked like it was going to be a total washout, but so far so good. Huh. What's up, Greg? Greg said it's been awful in PA as well. That's weird because PA usually just gets whatever weather, we had a couple days earlier. But I think the patterns have been a little weird. They haven't been that straight west to east that is typical around here. Oh, Sean, you got the musettes you ordered for me already. Wow, that happened super fast. Didn't I just put those in the mail yesterday? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, they must have just went out yesterday. Wow, awesome, Sean. Yeah, I think I threw some extra stickers in there for you too. And then I also think I refunded you $5. The shipping was only $5, so it said it would take something stupid. It said 10 to 15 days or something like that before you would see it, but you should get a notification, Sean, that you get a little refund because I am not, like, I just haven't gone and anyone knows who's tried to buy my e-commerce stuff is not the most optimized. So it's kind of adding, like, if you order multiple shirts or like bags or something, it might just double the shipping each time. So my only recourse is to ship it, then give you your money back, basically. So. Hey, what's up, D'Amico? Glad to see you up in here. Ah, Racer, it's been a little while, hasn't it? Well, I haven't been on for a while, and then I know you were busy with your move before I stopped streaming, so. Yinzer asked, do studded tires make a difference? Huge difference. I have dedicated an old bike, um, my '01 Trek, to being a winter bike. I put 45 North studded tires. I think they're 2.2s or something like that, 2.1s. And when I first put them, I had like given up on the idea of riding on in winter because I like went out in some snow and I felt like I was going to die. And the first time I put them on, we were doing one of my group rides, and Otis had, I think, made the route, and we went down, and we actually, there's like a natural ice skating area that they weren't using yet. We rode out onto that, and it's basically a frozen over pond, and there was like an inch of snow on it, and I was riding around on that with my studded tires. So they make a huge difference. They're definitely slower. They're definitely noisy, but they're totally worth it. They keep me riding when I wouldn't ride otherwise. They're kind of more like commuting type tires, you know what I mean? Like they're really good in the slush. When something gets super icy, nothing's really going to help you. And if you get a ton of powder where it gets packed down before they plow, like it happens here in Akron, the powder just slips on the powder, so they don't help you in that situation. But there are situations where I wouldn't have ridden, and now I ride with them. So, yeah, to me they're worth it. And I know you're in Pittsburgh, so you have similar weather. I don't know how well they clear paths and roads in Pittsburgh though, comparatively. So. Oh, Racer, you said you gave up the majority of the year moving, but now you're in the best position you've ever been to ride consistently. I still can't even imagine what moving the amount of bike stuff you had looked like. Um, I'd have to scroll too far back, but if you have any old pictures you could drop in the Discord, I'd pull one up for everybody. Or if you have one of your new space, what you did with it. So, Racer, I accidentally deleted your comment after this by clicking the wrong button. This new chat thing is cool because I can pull these up like this, but also when I click on them, it brings up all the options, and the second option that pops up is delete, which is an accident. So, I could view deleted message. Good, I could bring it back. Oh, good, good. Raymond said the UP trip looked amazing. Yeah, the Upper Peninsula was awesome. As you guys know from some of the other videos, just Michigan in general, I went 3 times this year, but 2 times were bike trips. And I just think me and my crew will be back there a lot. Yeah, I've said in that last video, it's like, why did we spend our childhood driving all the way out to the Atlantic coast when in the summer Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, Lake Superior is a little too cold to swim, but Michigan and stuff like that, just so beautiful. So. Can I still pull? I can't pull up the message I deleted, but Racer did say that he found electrolytes really help dealing with the heat. Highly recommended. I had some issues on a couple of our bike tours when we first started doing them where I got really like kind of dizzy and stuff like that. And I think I really hadn't had enough salt because I did like eat a lot of sugary stuff to ride. I know that's not your thing, Racer. But then with just drinking water, and my friends like do use like electrolytes in their water, and since then I have been you know, more intentional while making sure I get some salts and stuff like that. But rather have heat before 0 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, I mean everything's a spectrum, and it's so easy to adjust so much. By the end of winter, like a 36-degree bike ride doesn't feel that bad, but right now it would be the worst thing in the world. So, what's up, Eduardo? He said just moved, living in an area with 100-degree average weather to an area with 65-degree average. Huge difference in how much longer you could ride. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like some heat doesn't bother me, but like a long road ride in the sun or like a deserty area, I'm sure that would be a totally different experience. Oh, Greg, you're way out in eastern PA, so yeah, definitely different. That'd be way more of a different weather pattern. But in a lot of when the weather's like very normal, it does move from Ohio to Pennsylvania to New York kind of pretty predictably, but it just depends on the time of year. What's up, Brian V? First time in the live chat. Greetings from Bellingham, Washington. Yeah, nice to have you here. Been amazing in Toronto. 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. The one thing right now, this time of year, it's almost already to the point where no matter what, the nights get chilly. So that's the one, doing evening riding. I hate it when I come out and my bike's like all damp from all the, what do you call that? Dew? Yeah. Condensation. Did I accidentally delete another racer message? How do I keep doing this? I hope I didn't. I was showing all his messages being deleted. Let me try and fix this. Oh. Racer, I had accidentally hidden you from the channel. And sorry, that's what I did. I didn't delete your message. I had actually hidden you from the channel. So I've got you back on here. So I see that you've been replying to Yinzer. Well, you try something new. Mistakes happen. That's what's going on. But sorry about that. Let's see. I remember in an early live stream I was chatting in by Terry B and he accidentally, I think it was him. I think he accidentally put me in, like he accidentally blocked me from the channel. No, it wasn't him. One of his moderators did. No, like, oh shit, I blocked you from the channel or hit me in the chat. So really throwing myself off here by messing everything up like that. Oh, Kentucky has a mini drought. Our early summer was a bad drought. But then it was pretty mixed. And Monolake said would love some rain. Here it stops raining in May and finally rains again in October. Maybe. Rick says, I predict no snow here in Philly. I have 2 bikes that need studs and you ain't buying. Yeah, I saw you guys chatting about that in the Discord as well. Didn't have time to chime in, but good luck with that. I have a friend who just moved there from Cleveland, so I'm sure he'll bring the snow with him. Rick also said, I thought Tim always rides with studs. Always one, if you know what I mean. When I have him here. Oh, Yinzer, you said, yeah, they do the roads pretty good, but trails are hit or miss. The salt is the problem. Yeah, that's why I ride my old aluminum truck. And then I've said before, I'm really lucky. I have a floor drain here in the basement in the back. So I'm able to bring my bike in and hose it off after every ride and, hit it with that WD-40 that bike mechanics love so much. Oh yeah, is Pudgy in the house? I don't know. He was here last week and hadn't said anything until I had a question that he couldn't resist answering. I must have missed a comment because Rick's responding to something I can't see. I'll figure this out eventually. First trial run, so, working pretty decent. Kevin said in Denver the snow and ice comes and goes so much. As soon as the sun drops, it's black ice everywhere. Still wondering if you want to try the studded tires. I think you would like them, even in mud, because they have aggressive tread. So it depends on which ones you get. You can get them more or less aggressive. The 45 North, I really like the ones I have, which are the Gravdals. The the studs kind of push into the rubber, so when you are on if you're just on pavement, it doesn't make you feel like you're sliding all around on the steel studs. And yeah, then it's aggressive tread that's just good for any conditions. I know Large had a set that is like way more aggressive where the studs set way up on like rubber, and I don't know how those ones would be. Like I feel like I remember him saying they were a bit too aggressive, but I'm not sure. Hey, what's up, Micah D? The other Micah, as we say. Oh, there's Greg's comment. I don't know how I missed him. Racer, I hope you didn't leave because I messed that up, because I think I fixed it. Blackball said Racer gets blocked and yet Rick Urbanowski still walks the streets. Oh, that's right, Bob. You said tropical storms and hurricanes coming up the coast. Yeah, we've been lucky because sometimes those will head our way. Actually, Dave, do you remember the one year we were trying to close Soleil's and one of those hurricanes came like across Ohio, and the last week it just rained nonstop. We had no customers and it was horrible and tons of leftover stuff. I think we were just like dumping pumpkins back in the field, right? Not off the line bridge. Start making inside jokes already.
Yeah.
There's beer in the fridge if you want a beer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I meant to tell you that. I even put a coaster there to signify it, see? Christopher Webb, studded tires. I'm all the stud my bike needs. Yeah, too bad I don't have a prop stud detector around here right now to do the boop, boop. Pudgy is in here. What's up? You could, Pudgy could help unblock people that I don't mean to block. Eduardo said, any tips on how to keep steel bikes from rusting? I'm sure other people have better advice than I do on that. I mean, I think frame saver is a big one. Same thing people do in winter climates. I've always wanted to frame save my Raleigh. The problem is you need to completely strip the bikes down pretty much to the frame to use that stuff, from what Yonda told me, because I guess to get it all through the tubes, it's going to drip everywhere. Have you ever done anything, Dave? It seems like some anal thing you would do.
No, I've heard the same thing though. And at that point, if you're stripping your bike all the way down, why use frame saver? Just do that once a year and
Clean it out.
clean it out.
Yeah. I guess it'd be extra protection though. I mean, once you did it, you wouldn't have to. I don't know how long it's supposed to last. The first time we went out to Nutmeg and me and Ben did a tour of Connecticut, the last day we rode it poured the entire time. And like a week or two later, I brought my bike into the shop I think I was getting new tires, tubeless tires set up. And Ben said when he turned it upside down, water poured out of it a week later. So that was a little disconcerting. But yeah, Philly, I had a blast. I went out and rode around Philly with Rick. I was actually thinking about going out there between Higher Ground and Nutmeg, but we came up with a different plan this year. So. Eddie said too soon for snow talk. Yeah, I know. I usually do one, and I usually wait till sometime in October. Then we do some chats about like the coming winter. But even that, they say here the predictions are for it to be a brutal winter because of the weather patterns. But hopefully it's so unpredictable here. What, last year we almost had no snow.
Didn't they say that last year too?
Yeah,
Not
we had
weather
like
pattern,
nothing.
But they were predicting pretty bad,
Yeah.
maybe a couple days.
Yeah, last year was super mild. The year before we had those blizzards. Couldn't ride forever. Dimitri talking about the spray. Yeah, that's what think that's what the frame saver is. I don't know if there's anything different. I think the problem is you just can't get it on. You don't want it on your to get on your discs or other components. I am not an expert in that. It's just what Yonda had told me, the mechanic. Oh yeah, second camera. I got Dave on there. It usually fails. I can't believe it was still working. Remember it just kept beeping at us last time? We finally had to unplug it, but. Oh, Dean, you said Stumpjumper update. So I did make a YouTube post and I did post it on Instagram, but that I just I have a whole video that'll come out tomorrow. It's not uploaded yet, but just needs some finishing touches. So I'm slowed down a little bit with the computer transition, but Rick said I'm banned from Philly. I'm only banned from the bar that they based It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on. I'm not banned anywhere else. Maybe the surrounding outdoor area. That guy pulled a gun on me just for hitting him in the chest with a Pabst beer can. What is the world coming to? Was hanging out. Well, that's before I met up with Rick. That was my first day in town. Hanging out with Eric. That's why it happened.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Say no more. Right.
Monolake said, "Frame saver is messy, but it works well. You only need to do it once because the wax hardens. I use it in all your steel bikes and even racks. Do you need to do anything besides tearing the bike down to prep it? Like, if there is some rust in there, if it puts the wax on, is it only coating over the rust? You know? I don't know how you would remove rust from the inside of tubes, though. So I'm guessing it's better than nothing, no matter what. Oh, dude, I scrolled too far. Eddie said, steel bikes in coastal areas, marine grease, anodized parts, and a little more maintenance. Yeah, I think just keeping up on like anything. Like it's like, you know, coastal areas can't be worse than it is for us riding through salt, you know. Nothing is worse for bike parts than that. I think one easy piece of advice would be bring it inside when you can. I mean, if you do have like something that you're keeping climate controlled, you know, that's what I would do. I wouldn't leave it in a humid garage if you have the option not to, but that's, you know. Oh, Yinzer, you enjoyed it riding in New York City? Yeah, I know you had asked about like tips, but like I didn't really have any like our like places because we really just like bombed around. We just like would pick a spot where we were going to eat and ride there, and then we decided to ride to Central Park and rode there. But yeah, I love it. I love riding there. I think I'm going to try and get there between Higher Ground and Nutmeg. It's a 2-hour train ride from where we'll be staying, but I think I'll probably jump on the train one day early in the morning and ride around New York and then come back in the evening because, yeah, I love it. I don't think it was Large's cup of tea. He'll probably go do some country riding on the day I do that. But truth be told, it's what every city should aim for with bikes. Well, the one thing about New York is nice is like the car is the least in the pecking order. Like, I've said this before. It's just like the drivers know they're not getting anywhere. Like I wish they'd recognize that here, but it is way more congested there. Like they're resigned to the fact that they're stopping at that next red light. They're going to be stuck in traffic on Manhattan. Like, so if you cut them off on your bike, yeah, they might honk at you so they don't hit you or to like give you a warning, but they know they're not getting anywhere. So, you know, that's one of the things that I love about New York. Devote said, I watched a video the other day of a guy pouring old motor oil in a steel frame. You know, that would definitely help, but I think you have the same thing as where you're still got to tear down the bike to be able to do that, or you're going to get motor oil over all of the other parts of your, you know, bike. So at that point, I would spring for the money that the frame saver costs, because I don't think it's cheap. But new bikes aren't cheap either, right? Wait, I thought this year was predicted to be warm because of El Nino. Maybe you're right, though, and what I was told is, and this again, just someone telling me this, is that I thought that weather pattern was going to shift, and that was El Nino was going to make it be cold. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's Ohio. It's gonna up here close enough to Lake Erie. It really doesn't matter because if the weather starts coming from the north, we're going to get dumped on with snow. We could get Canadian air temperatures, all that. It's all Dimitri's fault for sending that weather down here. Eddie said El Nino, possibly longer winter. Yeah, it does. Rick said, I heard the old cameras that were used in the Arctic had their grease removed. Was that a thing? They used to like remove grease, so grease shouldn't freeze, right? Or it just gets slow?
Depending on the grease.
Oh, yeah. Maybe what they put in cameras could slow it down. I read a book about all kinds of vintage cameras, and I remember reading the one about the jungle cameras that used like all brass and teak wood, the old school ones, so they wouldn't rot. And I'm sure I read about the cold weather ones, but for some reason the tropical one stuck. Probably because I'd rather be a tropical photographer than someone trying to go to the Arctic Circle. I need a teak camera. Racer was talking about winter again. Studs are the key, but they're heavy and noisy. Good, you're back, by the way. You're back from my own banishment. Oh, yeah. So, Turan Johnny 5 26 by 5 fats on a 50 millimeter surly rabbit holes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, how you like to bubble the tires out around the rim. And fat bike thing too, like with all the friends we have on the channel, like in the Minneapolis area, they have all the groomed fat bike trails. So everyone around there just rides fat bikes instead of studs, and I think they're about equal, depending on the snow, of course. But I do love riding with people who ride fat bikes and they ride in front of us and make the path, and then you have you could just ride in the path that the fat bike made on your studded tires. That's been a thing a lot on the bike paths around here in the winter. A guy pulled a gun on me in Philly tracks. He was the bartender. It was, he had done a lot to, get us to this point, but for the record, I did look at him and say, "You're the worst bartender I ever have," and then threw a beer at him. So definitely wasn't happy. But again, this was a reaction to a long story of I don't feel like I made myself look very good right there. Oh, Greg said, I've been robbed exactly once in your life, and it was in Philly when you were in college. I had a gun pulled on me in Akron, actually almost right in front of where Dave used to live. Me and my friend who were walking down the street had nothing on us. So it's like you picked the wrong two guys to try and rob. Two broke-ass dudes. I wish I had something. I've always said this about that night. I wish I had a 10 or something, because when there's a gun in your face, you would rather be able to give someone something than be like, I don't have anything, which sounds like you're lying, Rick said if you don't pull a gun on someone in Philly, you get funny looks. And then Rick said, that was me, Greg. Thanks for the dough. Racer, are you talking about get a $20 chem sprayer and spray it down to protect against rust? Andre settled on the B17. Nice. Yeah, in my case, so if those of you who've been around for a while, had a friend of the channel donate 4 90s mountain bikes and a bunch of bike parts, and they were in Pittsburgh, and like he had told me, he's like I'm never coming back for them. They're too expensive to ship. go and grab them. My old roommate would be happy to have them out of the basement. So the one was the Gary Fisher, Trekmate Gary Fisher. And Otis at Dirty River had hit me up and he was like, do you have any mountain bikes that are suspension corrected? And I was like, well, I was like, you know, this I think one is an '03. And I was like, yeah. And I think this would work for what you want. Then he was asking all the specs and I'm like, I don't know. Then I sent him a picture. He's like, yeah, that'll work. So there's a guy who comes into Dirty River and he rides this bamboo bike. And it's not lightweight. It's the heaviest bike I've ever lifted in my life. I don't get it. The bike makes no sense to me. But he loves it, and it cracked. And so Otis thought he could do a part swap over here, and that's what actually Ben was doing today, is part swapping it. So here is the Gary Fisher, and getting built up. So, yeah, new life for it. You know, obviously put that suspension fork on instead of the original green one. Don't judge the position on stuff. It's just getting built up. But the cool thing is, Otis is like, oh, is it worth, would you trade it for a Brooks saddle B17 Special? So the one on my Raleigh is pretty beat, as anyone who would look at it would say. It needs to be laced. Like, it's beyond even trying to retension it or anything. So now I've got this to throw on the Raleigh, and the Gary Fisher is getting a new life, which is exactly what was hoping for all these bikes. So, and then the Stumpjumper is another one of the bikes in which I'm using, like I've built up. Like I said, it'll be in the video tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Patty Redbeard? How you doing? Christopher Webb said, would you have to remove frame saver after winter? No. Like they were saying, it's like a wax-based stuff, so it's just coating the inside of your bike. So, yeah, just a good protector, like always. You know, it'd be like waxing your car. You know, you would never try and remove the wax unless you, I don't know, over-waxed it, I guess. I have my old Nokia back. Don't bring up Nokia around me. I'll go down a Windows Phone rabbit hole. Best mobile OS ever, by the way. Mono Lake said, you love riding in New York City. Used to have a bike in your mother-in-law's basement. Nice. Yeah, I had ridden around New York like on the city bikes and stuff, but when I had my own bike there, I was absolutely loving it. Did you ride at all when you lived in New York?
Mm-hmm.
Were you like pretty confident? Did you get pretty confident out there?
Oh, yeah.
And that was before they even had like the good infrastructure they have now.
No, it was closer to like the classic, like bike messenger tearing through the streets and everything.
Does that still apply though, even though like they didn't have the lanes back then? Because even in New York, I hop out of the lanes, and in Brooklyn, you just ignore them. You're better off riding with the traffic. So did it still like kind of apply where cars like still knew, even though you didn't have a dedicated lane, they weren't that aggressive because they were all going to get stuck in traffic anyways?
That, but they expect you to be there.
Expectation of bikes using the streets as
Right.
well. Yeah. Yeah, in Akron, they're like appalled that you would be out there.
Yeah, you could be on a 3-lane, going one direction, and they're still gonna buzz you just because they're pissed that you're on the road.
Yeah. Downtown Akron's like that. We have all those one-way streets, 3 lanes, and they're like coming up behind me honking at me. It's like, use one of the other
Right.
2 goddamn lanes. Like, what the fuck? Boss said, when you transport your bikes on the rear of a vehicle and salt-covered roads, you cover the bikes, do you wax your bikes? So, 2 things there. That was one of my problems with the wax chain, is when we were coming back from the UP, we got stuck in rain, washed all the wax off after riding in rain and mud all day. And so even when we got back home that night, I still cleaned my chain and re-drip waxed it. Wax is not a rust inhibitor, obviously, so my chain has some surface rust on it. So that's one of my problems with the chain waxing thing. And now, since the gunner has a little bit of rust I could still see, even though I've tried to clean it and reapply it, I think I'm going to let it wear off in that chain. I'm actually going to go back to traditional lube on, because I think it needs to be it needs to be protected now. We don't, anyways, to answer your actual question, no, we don't cover the bikes. I do try and clean them when we can. They don't end up on racks and salt cover roads that much. It's a little more rare for me to be driving with the bikes on the racks in the winter, but it happens. And then, do you wax your bikes? I now when I build a new bike, I do wax it when I have it all stripped down. I'll actually, especially if it's a vintage bike with some surface rust or rust in spots, like the Stumpjumper, and those spots I cleaned it with some super fine steel wool. Then I rubbing compounded it, and then I waxed it. And I've done that to my old Peugeot. I really want to do it to the Raleigh this winter, tear that down, and maybe it would be a time to put frame saver in it. But yeah, so I've waxed some of my bikes. I haven't waxed all of my bikes, but I think it is a good idea to do, especially to something you're really trying to save. Dylan said he just looked it up. The Midwest is going to be warmer and drier than usual this fall and winter. I hope that's true. I'm just beyond believing any prediction about where we live. So. Craig said, find an oily teenager and rub them on a bicycle. Paul Sterling, what's up? He said, frame saver is expensive, but one can will do 3 frames. All right. Should we look it up? Does anyone have a actual price on what frame saver costs? Is there a brand? Is there a bunch of brands? I mean, I just always hear it called frame saver. Do you know anything about it?
That's the brand.
Oh, that's the brand. Oh, Bella Orange actually has a blog about it.
I don't know. And then I'm sure there's ways to avoid it, but like the weep holes, the tiny little weep holes. Like,
Yeah.
Wouldn't the wax just plug that up?
I would assume it's not thick enough to plug up those holes. I mean, those are pretty big. Oh, it says back in the day, sprayed WD-40 in his frame.
Hey.
Oh, the link doesn't work. Shoot to the frame saver link. We'll try to see if they. Igor, man after my own heart. Oh, that's not actually Igor in the photo. Let's just Google frame saver. I will probably come back to this article though. I do dig the how-tos on their blog. Frame saver bicycle. Probably just say bike. Why am I doing so bad at finding this stuff? Let's see what Amazon has. These are just ass savers, as the British say. So not the right things at all. Can. Maybe I'll add can to the, this is why we need you on a computer. Oh, JP Weigel makes it? No way. What am I in an image search now? What the hell? I didn't do that. I'm usually good at Googling things. Oh, I clicked on the image. Yeah. There we go. It is. Oh, Otis told me that. For a 4.75 ounce can, it's $15. Well, that's not expensive. Are you doing any better over there?
Maybe frame saver isn't the. But I had $20 Amazon.
Huh.
But that's steel frame protector.
I do remember that Otis told me Weigel is the one. So, do you know who he's a custom frame builder in Connecticut? But we got last year at Nutmeg, we stopped at his house, like his workshop.
Yeah.
And he builds just beautiful lugged frames. You would love them. Like early Ron Newering bikes and now even wider for gravel clearances, but just beautiful lines, classic triangle, beautiful paint jobs. Huge influence on a lot of other frame builders. And then he was just super cool and super friendly too.
What's he build under? Just his name?
Yeah, just that name. Yeah. And he's on Flickr, so, you know, I also like that. It's funny, Brad, to make fun of me. I'll burst through the door right now like, Flickr! Oh, Large said, I forgot which the comment was by Dylan, but said he's holding Dylan on that warm winter prediction. I do love this. So I never get to see people's, what do you call it, thumbnail, what do you call the picture that goes with your YouTube channel or your little guy? Avatar, that's a good one. It doesn't show it to me in the live chat, so now when I pull up the message, I get to see what everyone's little picture is. You know, it's the small things, Dave.
I think that's just a profile. You don't see that?
Not in the chat, but it doesn't show up in the chat for me for some reason. Oh, Yinzer, you said if you make it back to NYC, let us know what you see. You felt like it was either full roadies or e-bikes. Definitely, like when we were there last time, a lot of e-bike delivery people, but we saw a lot of very normal commuters. I think we were there on a weekday. Maybe Large will remember, so maybe that's what we were seeing more of. But yeah, definitely in Brooklyn and into Manhattan, I felt like, yeah, there were the delivery drivers, there were e-bike riders, but I felt like we were seeing just a lot of normies. We also did some laps over at Prospect Park, and there were like a lot of roadies there, but then there were just a lot of people just riding as well. So, yeah, we saw people running errands, farmers markets, all that kind of stuff. So, oh, Racer, you just watched a documentary about the Dandy Warhols and Brian Jonestown massacre. What channel was that on?
How far back are you?
Am I real far back?
You're way far back.
Oh, I must actually scrolled back up. Well, I guess not. I'll try and catch up. I might skip through some comments. But this one from Yinzer said, definitely a better rider since riding at NYC. Forces you to stay aggressive and alert. This is one thing I was saying when we rode there. I was happy to be on my gravel bike on 42s because it took the road conditions out of the equation. So then you can just be paying attention to everything else that's going on. But this comment by Mono Lake, you guys could read while I try and catch up. It's pretty funny. Eddie said about the old saddle, it's not beyond hope. It needs to be laced. I need to punch holes in it and lace it. It's just got a little too bananaed. I could tension it a little more. And I still don't actually mind it that much, but it's like, remove the thing that I like about Brooks is how you kind of move around on. You know, you're supposed to sit more on the rivets, but to change up a position when a Brooks is like a little better, I don't mind moving around on it. But this one is just a little, it's like just a little too banana, and it's not comfortable unless you are sitting on the rivets. So. Hey, what's up, Disco? Oh yeah, Times Square is no fun to ride through. Plus, it's a pedestrian place now.
It's no fun to just be there.
No fun to be there. It's now it's Disneyland of NYC. Like, it's not the same place it even used to be when we started going there. But I'm glad they shut it down to cars, and it's just a pedestrian place for tourists and stuff. But it is what it is, you know. Oh, hey, Jay Dandy. If you commented before, I missed it. What's up, Q? You have an old junky bike that isn't worth anything, but you love it? Yeah, I. That's some of the bikes I've ridden the most. My old Peugeot I bought for $30, and it has no value, and I still love it. Do you guys think I would go to hell if you put a if you put a B17 on your hardtail? No. You'll go to heaven. I know, like, I mean, obviously I use the Gunner as a touring bike too, so a B17 makes sense there, but I mountain bike on that bike and I love it, so. Less than rocket science, what's up? Haven't seen you in the chat for a while. I haven't seen you in real life for a while either. But point the nose of the saddle down. Yeah, that I know that works for you. I don't think that works for most people, but definitely something you could try if you think think it might. With the B17s, I almost always have them tilted up. I mean, my typical angle on a B17 is more like, especially new, not that far, but just a tiny bit.
You have yours angled up to the point where I've commented on it. Like
Oh yeah, you did.
It's noticeable.
Yeah, like if you look at you look the rally sitting over there, it's pointed up. You can't tell on this one. 'Cause
Even
it's
this one, well, even hanging, you can tell that it's
pointed up. Yeah, that's pretty typical. Usually,
is that to push you farther back on the saddle?
Yeah, you usually point a B7 because you'll feel like you're sliding off the front of them if you don't. It's pretty typical, and so people who run bars really high actually point the saddle kind of directly at the bars, and so, and maybe it might be the opposite of what Less Than Rocket Science is saying. If your bars are lower, you point it at the bars, but I feel like that would end up putting a ton of pressure on your hand on a B17 anyway.
Yeah, you're having to hold yourself back.
Yeah, so. And then they were talking about the cutout saddles. Aaron rides cutout B17s, but I see that more women ride cutout saddles than men, but some men really like the cutout ones too. I've never tried one because I just haven't had a problem with the regular ones. So
I saw C17. Is that the
it's the synthetic, yeah. They're not comparable. They're comparable in their width. So like a C17 or whatever. There's a number C15, B17, B15. The width will be the same and the shape will be similar. But I've ridden a C17 and I didn't like it. It like beat me up. It was actually on the Gunner when I borrowed it originally. And it was not comfortable for me. Some people love them. Some of my friends who used to ride B17s, Funny Brad, has switched to them, and he loves them. And a couple other people, but the GoPro's cutting out on us. But yeah, that's real personal. Saddles are always real personal. That's why we don't talk to them about it here that much. But except today. Or when
Except the whole point of this chat.
Yeah, except that I put it in the thumbnail, so I knew it was going to be acceptable. Less Than Rocket Science said Harbor Freight has cheap frame saver. And Patty said he was already in hell. Rick. Think there's any chance I could get caught up? I like to talk to everyone. It's hard. Oh, used bike said linseed oil. I've used linseed oil on metal signs. Like I have a big Z out back, and I put linseed oil on that. It actually made the color look really cool too. Q said, I would assume that auto undercoating inside a bike. Well, some auto undercoating is really thick and heavy stuff. I don't think you'd want to spray that into a bike. Like Dave was saying earlier, talk about plugging up your holes,
I forget who said it. It's in here somewhere. I don't know if it was a joke or real, but putting it in front of a fan after a ride. But why not just clean it after every ride? Your winter ride, you just know you have to put a little extra time after.
You ride in the snow and stuff, you should. When I don't, like when I get home on a Wednesday and it's late and we've been drinking and I don't hose off the bike, like I always feel bad. But then again, that's why I have a dedicated winter bike.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's not something that I'm gonna like cry over if it has a crack in eventually. Like, they've gotten more than 20 years out of riding it. But I think that's why too, you know, like roadies, they have winter bikes.
Right.
You know, they have their winter fender bike. It's got cheaper components and all that stuff. I think it should be the same for anyone. But a lot of suggestions on different kind of stuff to spray in the frame. I can't speak to any of them. I haven't used anything, so. Whoops, I need to space this stuff out better so I don't click all over my, there we go.
What do you think the Velo Orange leather saddles? Or if they even have them still.
Fellow Orange's leather saddles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never tried one. Yeah, I'd seen them before, but the other ones people really like are the, it's a French name. Ben and Otis have a couple. Gilbartude leather saddles, which are like, they're much thicker leather. They look like they would take a lot longer to break in, but they're cool because everything's replaceable. So you could easily replace the rivets actually have like, you know, Allen holes or something, so you can pop it out. Whereas Brooks are riveted and it's a pain in the ass. And the hardware could be switched and stuff. Gilbartude, yeah. It looks like Birth Hound if you speak English. They're expensive, but
You speak English.
which you probably do if you're here. Oh, Kevin B said you already got some rust making it through one of your steel frame that's 3 years old.
Well, read the rest of that comment.
I've actually used the weep hole for my cable guide when I was 2x.
Yeah, see? Plug the weep hole.
Plug the weep
Plugging
hole.
holes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I mean, I even used to ride the Peugeot in the winter, and there's really not much rust on that bike. I mean, who knows? The inside could be a disaster. But
Just an absolute mess.
when I bought it, it had no seat post in it. It was outside in someone's yard, so who knows? But that was like 6 years ago. Got like 5,000 miles on it. Oh, Racer, you were saying frame saver. Frame saver's for the inside. Waxing is for the outside. But frame saver is like what, a real liquidy wax, I guess, from what people were saying. Yeah, Disco, you gotta hit me up if you're on your way up to Raisin or anything this winter and swing by again. Oh, that's what you're saying. Mass Produced said, park your bike in front of a fan after wet rides. Yeah, if it's wet and salty, that's not doing you any good, though. No matter how fast it
I don't
dries,
know
if
if
there's
that's
salt in there. Yeah.
supposed to be true or not, but
That might be for
simply like taking a rag and drying things off.
Yeah. Yeah. I like,
Getting a pancake air compressor.
yeah. Yeah. And I know people like the WD-40 thing. People get real. I'm not spraying my like two nicer bikes with WD-40, but that old Trek is from 2001, and I've hosed it off and like hit like the little stuff with WD-40 over and over again. I mean, it's water dispersal. It's not lubricant, so you do need to re-lube it after you do that after a couple days.
You got to use everything correctly. Right?
Yeah, but to get the water out of all the stuff after I hose it off and dry it with a towel, I've WD-40'd that bike for years, and it's still running with mostly original drivetrain. So, and the last 4 years has been my winter bike. So, I don't know. That's one of the things I know. There's like common knowledge and common wisdom, but I also have my own personal experience where I'm like, you can tell me whatever you want, but I ride a ton, and certain stuff works for me. You know. Yeah, I use mechanic. I use automotive wax for the outside of the bike and rubbing compound. Everything I use on the outside of the bike, I just go over to AutoZone. There's one 2 doors down to get.
You actually wax the frame?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably wax the gunner this winter. So. His bike says, I just get rid of old steel frames now. Fuck that, hubby.
What's the point?
Whoop.
What kind of longevity are you trying to get out of?
Well, I mean, it looks good too.
I'll give you that. But by the time rust were to actually be any real issue, you've probably moved on to a different bike.
Yeah, I mean, if it was rusting from the inside through the frame, but
Right.
surface rust.
Sure.
Like you could kind of clean off some surface rust even through the paint and
Right.
wax it, you know what I mean, and rubbing compound and wax it and it just, you know.
I'm moved in the rain, and every trip I'm in, 3 trips back and forth or whatever with bikes on the rack, and everything is just absolutely covered in surface rust. But a little WD-40, and it's back to new.
Yeah. But then the wax just protects that. So after you do that work, if the paint has already lost its glossiness and stuff like that. So if you do super light steel wool, whatever, the 4-0, some
Right.
WD-40, it cleans it up really nice, and then you wax it. It's just helping to protect it from just starting to re-rust the next time it's humid right away. So.
I'm getting a little inside baseball. But do you have any issues down here? Being a basement?
You know what? It's so funny is have my caps down here, and when I hang them up sometimes, then I come down and notice the mold spots starting, and I have to clean them up because they're down here. So it is a little more humid, but I almost always keep the fan running down here to at least keep the air flowing. Yeah, I do try and wipe stuff down once in a while, but I don't hang anything up where I haven't re-lubed all the parts that are moving parts. So the Trek before it goes on the wall before the winter, I make sure everything has
Right.
tri-flow all over it pretty much. So yeah, so I think stuff would rust if I wasn't careful about it, just sitting down. I mean, not the frames, but the components, the stuff that naturally gets some surface rust. Oops. How did I do that? There we go. Racer said, one thing that always comes to mind when seeing people riding in cities like New York is the breathing in of exhaust of cars. Well, that's going to happen whether you're riding your bike or not. GCN actually did a video on this with a scientist. I don't know what kind of scientist he was, but they actually had some device that can measure pollution. Do you want to beer us? Or me? Beer yourself too. I mean, you're not driving. Oh yeah, you are. But and they measured pollution inside a car and then on the bike, and it was actually worse driving in traffic inside a car. The air filters were not good enough to make it better than the air outside, which was interesting. I don't know. Go to their channel, look it up. You could decide for yourself. But yeah, I mean, I think about that when I'm I think about that when I'm behind a car and they take off and I smell the exhaust. But I'm like, I don't know. At least I'm not in a car making that pollution, right? B17 versus swallows. Swallows need to go on a bike with a really aggressive position for most people. So a swallow, or I have a real narrow one on my Viscount. I can't ride it without padded shorts, and that's the only time I ever wear padded shorts is when I ride the Viscount, our undershorts. I don't have real bibs, padded underwear more or less, kind of like a chamois. But yeah, so with the swallows, you have to either be really skinny, and that's still, I'm fairly skinny, but they're more for the aggressive position. B17 is more kind of for your bars being about level with the saddle or higher. That's, to me, the difference. Hunter said, I remember when saying Brooks on this saddle was an instant ban. Well, the fact that I got one today and put it in the thumbnail was kind of like, okay, let's have open season on the Brooks saddle chat. And it's been a while. The problem was every single stream used to turn into a Brooks saddles chat. So we needed to take a break. Large Marge, as a moderator, would actually silence you for talking about Brooks again. Oh, Stomach Thunder said, what do I mean by banana when I'm talking about the saddle? So literally, over time, the leather just softens, and so when I say banana, it's a curve that forms in the Brooks. So this is an almost new one. This isn't brand new. This was Kelly, Otis's wife's. But I think she didn't like it. But yeah, so the center starts to sag. And so what you do is you give it a quarter turn right here on this bolt, and it retensions the leather and it pulls it back tight. You get to a point where it really doesn't do much. And so what a lot of people do, and some come with it, is you punch like 3 or 4 holes in the side here, and then you lace it, and then you could pull the leather back tight, and that will recreate the ridge there. And then you could retighten those laces over time. You could see there's a ton of adjustment in here because you have the whole length of that bolt. But mine was used when I got it, and now it's probably, I originally had it on my Trek that I was riding, a vintage Trek I was riding as a touring bike and rode all the time, then put it on my rally. So it's probably got probably more than that. It's probably approaching 10,000 miles under me, and it was already used. So Rick said he tilts his up, his nads fall asleep, and then he backs it off a touch. I ride them enough that I know instantly when it's in the right position now. I know when it's comfortable. I'll go out for that first ride. Usually I could set it by eye. Like when I put this one on, even though it's new, I'll probably set it by visually, and I bet I'll go out and ride. I'll make sure I have a wrench to adjust whatever I need, but a lot of times I don't even need to anymore. So, hey, what's up, Rob? You said you have cutouts on your B17 and Cell Atomica. Man, I really can't keep up with this chat, can I?
Yeah, you're way behind.
Let's see.
Apparently this mic is pretty hot too.
Yours? Even being that far away?
I say I'm touching myself. But I'm not wearing the mic.
Yeah, so Dave's mic is a shotgun mic, and I have it 2 feet from you, whereas this mic I have to be like right up to because they're very different. I'm surprised it's hot from there. Yeah. Rob said he's paste waxing. I don't know what paste waxing is. Your winter bikes, making sure all the tiny drain holes are clear, though. Do you know what paste waxing is?
It's just paste versus like gel, turtle wax.
How would you get that? Oh, on the outside. Yeah.
The can versus.
Yeah. Yeah, I use the real, like the hard shell stuff. I wax with hard shell. I mean, come on. Not going to cut corners if I'm going to go through the whole process. Oh, Racer said your fat bike is carbon, so no need to worry. Yeah. Is it 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Oh, 10:11. Because Jay Danny said, the fuck. I got the new video queued up, the new thank you members video, the break video. If you were here last week and you remember I couldn't find it, I take the SSD from down here where I have it, take it upstairs to my upstairs computer, plug it in, transfer all the files, and I brought it back down tonight and realized it was there. Something about this old computer didn't, for some reason, it wasn't re-indexing the hard drive is all I could say, because the files weren't appearing, but they were there. So I went back up, recopied them. I'm like, what's going on? Refreshed it, brought it back down, and then they showed up. So yeah, some weird thing. Like usually it's almost like an internet browser. If you haven't pressed F5 for a while, it could be stuck somewhere. I don't understand how that happened on 2 Windows-based machines sharing an SSD, but it did. Anyways. Steve Hansen said saddle soap works well on leather. I only put the Brooks stuff on. What is saddle soap?
It's for horses.
For horses? Horses?
That's all it is. It's literally for like saddles.
Well, now I just scroll down past like most of the comments. Oh, Chris, you like a B17 just 200 miles in? Because some people don't like them new. I like them new. Greg said tilting your seat upwards is just free birth control. So that's the difference between a B17. If you buy a modern saddle, you're supposed to be able to put a level on it and level it. B17s are different. Yeah. Oh, Disco was said, it's so funny. Bertude, once I saw it typed, I wanted to say Berthoud, made the most expensive bike mirror you ever owned. Yeah, I've seen.
RacerX84107112 super chatted $5. Check out my new build in the Discord.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Racer. I will pull it up here in a second. Just to finish with the Disco Whisk comment. My name just went place. Josh Romero. He changed his name. Used to be Stoked on Spokes on YouTube. They sent him one of those, and he did a review of it. But yeah, really cool, but really expensive. So let's check out. This is Racer's build. Got to pull it up. He paid $5. Well, let's read his description. Chinese carbon frame set, wheels and bars, full hydro, recall Tegra. Wow. Use stages power meter, 18 pounds before going tubeless. Build sucked and it's not recommended for noobs. And custom vinyl too. How do you feel about the? I know people have been selling people have been riding the the Chinese carbon. Do you feel like it's just as good? Like I said, a lot of them are just made in the same factories as the big brands, anyways. Just let me open this one up full screen. Almost looks like a time trial bike, just without the aero bars. Nice. I put Monty's Instrument food on your leather bike saddle. Huh. Yeah, I only used, what do they call it? The what's the stuff Brooks, they give you some with your new saddle, and then I buy the tins of it after that. What is that stuff called? 100 people are typing right now, so it doesn't matter.
Do they call it soap?
No, it has a specific name. Proofide.
Oh.
Yeah, Brooks Proofide. I just use what they sell. Man. What is? All right. Okay. I'm gonna try and get caught up here so we could take our break. Oh, that's what Pudgy said. Tim told New Dave that every time he gets handsy with himself, which is apparently often, the mic is picking it up full force. Pudgy's like not chatting at all, just till then. Yeah, I can't get him on camera. Our camera, it died, and I can't tell which cable goes to which because usually unplugging and replugging it fixes it. Let's see if a software fix would work.
It's not worth it. We gotta change the angle on that too.
So it's more face on
It's
instead of
just
side.
weird. This is a weird angle.
Put it over here so it faces you. Let's deactivate and reactivate. See if that was no. You can retube a tube on a steel bike. Yeah, if you have a frame builder, you could do whatever you want. I don't want to get to that point. Heavy petting on the mic. Yeah, I wonder if Pudgy will be down for Rays this year because he's been doing the pump track all the time. So, every Sunday you've been hitting the pump track in Dayton. So it seems like Rays would be up your alley. My buddy Carl, who I did the Century with on Sunday, is going to get a season's pass too. Racer asked, how about the Shimano recall? I didn't have any of the parts that got recalled. I have some 11-speed 105, but it seems like it was only Ultegra and Dura-Ace, right? Yeah, I agree with Tim does aircraft. The exhaust knock. Some driver's going to kill me long before the slow cancer I'm going to get from the exhaust. Kevin B. Yeah. Rick said B67 for uprights. Yeah, I saw you post about that earlier too. For full uprights, I think so. Yeah.
Is that the one with the springs?
Yeah, springs, like really cool looking. Our friend, to bring up Carl again, he went to visit where like his family was from in Germany, and they were going to rent bikes. And I don't know whose idea it was, but they looked at the German Craigslist or whatever, and they found bikes that were, because bikes are so common, that were cheaper than renting a bike. They rented it, and it had a Brooks B67 on it, and the B67 was worth more than he paid for the bike, so that he rode it around for a week as the hometown his family was from, and then when he was ready to leave, he took the saddle off and just leaned the bike up against the wall in town and
Oh, hell no.
brought it back with him. He's like, I got my money back with this B67. Like, I didn't pay anything for the bike rental. And someone else probably got a new bike that they slapped a saddle on, so. Oh, Monolith has 3 B67s. Oh, nice. You've replaced saddle frame, rivets, and tension pin over the years. That's the other thing with was talking about my saddle being bananaed. It's the rivets are also rusting out on it, so it needs to be re-riveted eventually. And again, I'm not going to get rid of the saddle, and I probably would fix it up, but it's nice to have. I like Brooks when they're new, so I'll throw this on there and then maybe do some work on that one and put it on a different bike or bring it back to that bike because I am sentimental. So
When you say new, like broken in new or like new?
yeah, I mean like not broken in yet. Like this saddle's not new, but it's not broken in at all. So yeah, I still like
So
them.
why not go for the C?
They're just not comfortable to me. I think they don't. I don't think they give like the leather tension does. They're kind of like a rubber tension
Right.
saddle, which I have like the vintage ones they did back in the day, like on that Chaton over there, and they're just not the same. And then as these do break in, they just get better, you know.
Sure.
So, that's what I'm saying. I like them right away, and then when you do pass that 600, 700, 800 mile point, then they become like heavenly. Jay Danny said, let's talk Cell Italia. That looks sweet on the Stumper. Otis gave me that. He'd had it around forever, and Oh yeah, the box on the shelf. Right now it's not a camera shot, but it doesn't matter. I do have a picture of that bike in the Discord though, so I guess I can show what we're talking about it.
I'll jump ahead just to clear things up. You said that wrong, Carl. Marge brought it up. Carl bought the bike. He didn't rent the bike.
That's what I'm. Yeah, did I say that wrong?
He didn't just steal the saddle off of a rented bike.
I did say it wrong. So, yeah.
Just to clear.
Carl
clear
saw the
good
price of the rental bikes. They just bought like 2 bikes off like whatever their Craigslist German version is, and whatever they paid, he said they paid like, I don't know, the equivalent of like 60 American dollars, which was cheaper than like the $200 bike rental. And so he basically got a cool B67 for like $60. And I'm making up these numbers because I don't remember. But yeah, he did not steal the saddle off a rental bike. He bought the bike, and the saddle was worth more than he bought the bike for. Is the whole point of the story. Thanks, Large. Yeah. And Dave. Yeah, so that's the saddle Otis gave me, the titanium flight for the Stumpjumper. Kind of period correct for this bike, too. Because this bike is I built it up at 7-speed. It's Biopace. I think they pronounce it, I think the Italians say Biopace. I've never had the old cranks. It's kind of strange. But let's see if I can get through. Oh, shoot. I scrolled down. Got to where Marge was. All right, we'll just skip ahead. I messed it up, so. Oh, that's. Mono Lake said Rivendell sells Obermoffs for Brooks saddles. Saddle soap is for cleaning leather before using a treatment. Interesting.
That is true, but I think a majority of it in cleaning it, you're adding moisture to the leather, and people don't take that next step. And
keep it in
putting a lotion on it.
Yeah, yeah, because Proofite is like a protector, lotion protection.
Right.
So. Inksley. So atomic, comfortable out of the box, but the sides rub on the inner thighs for some people. Best thing about the saddle is the rails are long and level. Yeah, one of the negatives about the Brooks is for certain bikes you need like a setback, like a Thompson setback saddle to make them seat post to make them comfortable, which I had to do on my Marin, that 90s Marin. I converted to drop bar, but I couldn't get the Brooks back far enough with the way the saddle is. So, yeah. The setback seat post was the solution. Malk said he has the Anatonica, best saddle so far. What is large as only 2.8 million cranks in response to? I skipped a bunch of comments, so it's probably a hilarious joke that I'm not getting it. Mick Growjob said, "I figure you're more likely to get taken out by an e-bike on the path than a car or street now." I've heard a couple of people complain around here. I saw someone on Facebook just complain about it the other day. We've talked about it a little bit. I'm not anti-e-bike in any way. One of the things we were saying, though, is the proportion of e-bike riders that don't understand cycling etiquette is a little higher because they're newer to cycling. So hopefully, as it grows, they become more aware riders as well. Like me and Michael were riding one night. I think I talked about this on the live stream and almost got taken out by an e-bike, but that was a rarity. I've almost been taken out by just as many roadies. So, by more roadies. I've almost been taken out by one e-bike. So, yeah, that's how it goes. But Jay Dandy has a great comment here about the recall. Did you see this? I said I have a 105, so it's not recalled yet, and Jay Dandy said the recall will trickle down to 105 next year. That's one of the best bike jokes ever. Like, someone needs to make that a meme, for sure. Chris is off. Good night, Chris. Oh, I missed that click. There we go. Pull some comments, see if I can pull this off. Mink oil, I've heard mink oil can over soften a saddle. So people use it to break it in faster, right? But I think it's actually bad for it, right? Let's see what I use mink oil for leatherette radio cases and moccasins. Yeah, Cycling Brian, what's up? I've seen you in the comment section before, but never, I don't think in the live stream. I could be wrong. It also could be getting thrown off by actually seeing people's photos. What did you call avatars, if you will? Look at me, real techie. But yeah, I think the problem with certain things, like there's stuff for horse saddles to soften them. There's certain things that are actually bad for leather saddles because you got to remember, unlike like a horse saddle, they are leather tension, so it's like a hammock, and you don't want to over soften that leather too much. I'm not sure if it's mink oil, but there are things. So, oh. That was large. He was talking about the cranks, 2.8 recalled cranks, and I said, "Thanks, Shimano." It's all Obama's fault. Would that have been? That would have been under his administration when they're making those, right? You know. Let's make it weird. Let's make people guess what I'm trying to get at.
Literally is Obama's fault.
Literally is, even though it's a Japanese company. But. Oh, Yinzer said third time's the charm on the skip. I've read it every time, but I thought other people were going to answer because I haven't written it. So I was hoping someone would help you out. And I haven't been to Richmond, but that's where Crust Bikes is. Have to ask Aaron Novak when I ride with him. My buddy just bought a Crust Evasion, and he went down and picked it up at their headquarters in Richmond. So I assume he's ridden it, but. What are you going to say, Dave?
Why'd you do that? Just something to do?
What?
Why'd he go down there to pick it up?
He was picking it up. He wanted to pick it up from them. They're building him a complete, so to get it shipped or anything would have cost more. And he has a friend down there, so he rode with that. All right, Dylan, see you on Saturday. Probably already gone, but. Large is talking about his one by bullshit because some Shimano cranks get recalled for delaminating. Like 5 people, like you said, 2.8 million got recalled, but only 5 people got hurt. I mean, they're probably roadies anyways.
Probably deserved it.
Yeah, they deserved it. They're probably like pushing too hard when everybody else was trying to chill. Trying to go get a beer. God. Less than rocket science said Neat's feet oil is another bad one to use on saddles. Less than rocket science. Are you going to come out to the bike swap on Saturday? 2 o'clock. I bet you got some stuff to sell or buy. You could buy some of my old frames. Ham hock. Yeah, Malk said mink oil is not advised for Brooks. Yeah. What is the stuff I bought? I bought something on Amazon, and then I asked Yonda about it. He's like, by all means, never put that on your saddle. He was like, it'll ruin it instantly. It would make it like sag really bad, but I had bought it. Oh, it's Neat's foot. I could see it over there. So it's just sitting over there. I got a vintage French saddle, an Ideale, and it's really stiff, and that is what I had read, and then people told me do not do that. I'm not anti-roadie. Like I've said a million times, I love bike racing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're just like anything. I think there's a higher proportion of roadies I don't like than other groups of people, and there's a pretty high proportion of every group of people I don't like. They're just a little higher. Oh, nice. Listen, Rocket Science said definitely coming to the swamp. I am kind of caught up. Should we do the break? Yeah, don't talk about a bunch of stuff. Big Cypress said Crust is just awesome. Yeah, so friend Aaron Novak had a Romancer, and then he got the Evasion, and he got built up pretty sweet, except for the one-by thing. But they are white cranks, you know. Index bar ends, too. It's an interesting build. Anyways, I want to try and feature it on the channel on more people's bikes. Eventually, maybe I'll do the bike check thing. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do it as YouTube Shorts. Let's do a quick break. So anyone who needs to, use the facilities. Wrong. What did I say?
Hey, just want to take a moment to thank our channel members. You see their names on the screen right now. It's their support that makes it so we could do these weekly live streams, have better graphics, have better cameras, use better music in the videos, and all the stuff like that. If you don't want to become a channel member, we also do have a little store below. You could support the channel that way, buy a sticker, bandana, or t-shirt, but I understand not everyone could financially support, so just hit the like button on this video right now. Thanks a lot. We'll be back in a moment with some more, hopefully, bike talk. Who knows? It's after 10, right?
I want a tuna boat. I'll give me tuna boat.
Up. Hello. Usually I play that video, I turn down the mics, and then I come back on and I start talking, and I don't have any volume, and I don't realize till like I read like 4 comments where people are like, we can't hear you. But look at this. Tonight, I'm on top of it.
Weren't we supposed to use the facilities during that? I forgot.
Oh, what happens if I pull up something with an emoji? Does it show it? Oh yeah, it does. Nice. Right, I muted the song and in place I'm thinking Nightclubbin' by Iggy Pop. Man, I know a lot of Stooges, but I don't know that Iggy song. Oh, was the video glitching? Dave, did it play smoothly for you? Okay. I know early on I had to be careful before I'd figured out all the nuances of streaming, to not make those videos. I was making those videos really high quality, like the videos I would upload to YouTube, and it couldn't stream them. So now they're only 1080, and I use a low bit rate. So they've always played before. So yeah. What is Malk's comment? If a new crank built by my company leaves Chicago traveling west at 60 miles per hour. Oh yeah, Dave was perplexed by the idea that Stream Elements was saying stuff. There is a way to make it list all the commands we've ever come up with, but I don't remember what they are. But yeah, so I need to make one for you because some people don't know who you are. But that was the whole point. Like when Rick wasn't hanging out, people would ask about Rick all the time. So I made like you would put exclamation point Rick, and it would give a description of like why he wasn't hanging out anymore. So I don't have to say it every time. Or it works. It's really cool for links too. So I want to say like a bunch of photos like that on Flickr. I think I have one that's just, well, let's see, just to show you. But yeah, so it drops the link. So yeah, you can have these chat commands. There's one for Pudgy, there's one for Large, Lanky Cyclist. Some are just links to their Instagrams or whatever it may be. But Fa said, I want to try bike camping. Any advice for a noob? My advice is always, one, with whatever you have, do a shakedown ride, do something short, but also to maybe not like fully camp, like find a place that has like stuff you could rent that's already set up so you could try out and see if like the overnighter thing is for you, because you don't want to buy cheap gear, decide you love it, and then hate your cheap gear and buy expensive gear, because then you just wasted the money on the cheap gear. So I always say like try something that's like a lower point to entry, like people call it credit card touring. Like, you know, like I said, ride to a campground that has like, you know, like where we stayed in the UP was like the one place was a yurt, so you could ride to it, and all we really needed to bring was some simple things. Yeah, or ride to a hotel or an Airbnb and ride back and see if you dig that. It's tough. It's tough because if you're not going to like it, one of the most important things about enjoying bike camping is buying good gear for the camping part. You could strap that stuff any different way to cheap bikes. I used to do it only on cheap bikes with cheaper bags. You know, I bought more expensive stuff because I love it, and it's how we do all our vacations. But yeah, you don't want to buy a $350 lightweight tent if you don't know if you're going to use it. So depending on where you live too, some places have gear shares. It's probably only in bigger cities, but places they'll let you borrow stuff to try it out. There's guided tours in a lot of cities. You know, if you live in New York, there's always like trips going up out of New York into the Hudson Valley and stuff like that. But it's like anything. It's tough when someone asks like, I think I'm going to like biking. What kind of bike should I buy? And you're like, I love bikes. So I would, you know, if you're buying a new bike, you know, it's hard to get a new bike below, name a price point. In my mind, it's probably $1,500 to $2,000. I already liked camping. I knew I was going to like it. I invested in the tent and the sleeping bag. You know, also you could hopefully, if you only use them a few times, sell them used. But then over time, a nicer bag setup, nicer bike setup, all that stuff. But Cycling Brian says, when I started camping bike trips, you were fortunate to have a more experienced friend to ride with. Learned a lot to do and not what to do. Yeah. I made a video a number of years ago. It was one that really helped grow the channel originally. That was like bike packing for beginners. And I called it bike packing even though we were more bike touring. But I think that term actually helped the video a lot. But it was about like how to cheaply go and do it. If you search the channel, if you go to the channel's homepage and search it, there's good advice there. And then I made one that's the most popular video I have, and I can't even believe it, but it's like, I think it's now approaching like 400,000 views, and it's like what I've learned in 5 years of bike touring. So all that stuff is a good way. But YouTube has a ton of it. It doesn't have to be my videos. I would definitely, the best advice I would be is to type exactly your question into YouTube and watch a number of videos. So, oh good. Eddie said there was no problem with the video. What sleeping bag brand do I use? It is well, I've switched. So I have a synthetic sleeping bag, and the brand will come to me in a minute. But I've actually switched because we don't camp in extreme cold weather to using just a down quilt. And it's a Rumple. You don't need to buy Rumple. I found out those are extremely expensive. They're expensive for a reason. They use recycled material down that's only from the food industry. So, ducks that were already killed for something else. I know that's still not going to work for vegans. But so I've switched to just using a regular quilt. The sleeping bag I have, come on, it's one of the big brands. It's escaping me. I like the quilt because it packs down way smaller, and my sleeping bag is mummy style, and I'm a tosser and a turner, so I don't like it that much. I only bring it if it's, like, I'll bring it to Nutmeg because it's going to be cold, but I prefer just a quilt now, a down quilt. So I'm trying to think, what is the big outdoor? It's one of the big like outdoor brands you could get at REI and anywhere, but I'm really drawing a blank on the name of it. And some people said, aren't quilts just sleeping bags unzipped? But warmer weather ones aren't because they don't unzip all the way. There are ones that do. I think I talked about that. If I knew what I know now, I would have bought one like that back in the day. That's one of the things that I'm talking about. Some stuff just takes experience, and sometimes you spend money on stuff that isn't exactly what you want. Use bikes. Well, yeah, I mean, you could have a bad experience anywhere. I mean, Big Cypress Distillery said, always looking for people to bike camp in South Florida. You bring the booze and the Raymond. Yeah, I don't know anyone in South Florida. I know people in like Tampa and stuff that do it, but yeah, Kevin B. Yeah, if you don't mind using down, I love my down quilt. That's been the best thing I've had. Packs way smaller than my synthetic bag. I was worried about maintenance. When I bought my sleeping bag, I asked the people about the differences, and they were like, well, if it gets wet, down doesn't blah, blah, blah. And now I know that from the way I travel, I could keep it dry, pack it in a one of those super lightweight waterproof bags, have my tent set up so it shouldn't get wet, all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Traveling through just sleeps in a bandana. That boy is crazy. Yeah. Traveling through is, yeah, he's hardcore. That dude will sleep under a bridge. That dude will sleep at the edge of a city park. Yeah. I think I have a link to his channel on here in case you guys don't know him. I think I just put it as, did I just put it as TT to make it simple? We'll see. But yeah, there are down pants, Racer. Seen Dustin Klein wears them. A bunch of people do. They look really goofy, but I bet they're so comfortable. So, nah, my sleeping bag is not a Big Agnes, but it's a brand like that. So, you said you have sleep apnea. Yeah, I have a buddy who does too, but he doesn't bike. He like car camps, and he does bring his machine along. But yeah, yeah, for bike packing, that would be more of a pain, and for sure when space is at a premium. Yeah, puffy down pants. They seem pretty deluxe. Yeah, they're probably what, $250, right? That's a lot of down. I just go with the down quilt. Sleep in your long johns if you have to. Bring wool long johns to sleep in, right? Oh, less than rocket science. Yeah, too. Polyfill pants, much cheaper than down. It'll keep you warm when wet. That's the big disadvantage of down. If it gets wet, it does nothing for you. It needs that air loft to have any insulating properties. But again, proper tent setup is key. That's why I have a footprint. And I know less than rocket science. You've talked about this too. Bikepacking.com talks about it. You could also get cheap footprints by using what's the house ramp? Stuff they put on houses to keep the wood dry.
Tyvex?
Tyvex, yeah. Oh, did my link work?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, nice. Used Bike says, what if there's a torrential rainstorm early in the morning? We stay in our tents. The other thing to do is what Large has been doing lately when we go on our trips is bringing a lightweight tarp that you could string between trees. And so then you use that to break down your setup underneath something. Of course, you said torrential. I mean, bad weather is bad weather. Been really lucky that our getting in at night and breaking down in the morning, we've never been in a horrible rain situation. Is that just doing like out to Large's family property once we had that in the morning. We basically we stayed in our tents till there was a break in the rain, broke them down. But again, this wasn't a bike tour where we had to be on the road to get to the next spot Yeah, stuff happens. Stuff gets wet. You're wet. You're going to be wet the next day. One of the things we do, like I bring extra straps for the outside of my bags. So what I'll do is I'll put like the rain fly, and every time we stop to like have a snack, I'll refold it. So during the day while we're riding, hopefully the rain stops and you're able to dry it out. Again, another Carl reference. He did the Gap in CNO and it rained the entire time. He said they set up every night wet and they went to bed every night wet. Sounds awful. I think I'd probably bail on the trip at that point, but yeah. Tim, do you have a go-to coffee system? Yeah, so we've stopped using the AeroPress and all that stuff and even the foldable pour-over things and started using the high-end instant coffee. Lachlan Morton supports a brand. They're almost all made in the same place. Oh yeah, this is the one Lachlan Morton promotes. It's called Pretty Great Coffee. So they're basically like this process that freeze dries it. You're just pouring the coffee right into your boiling water and drinking it. It's not as good as, no matter how like they're high end, they're expensive. It's not as good as making a pour over or using an AeroPress, but it's good enough. And Aaron is an absolute coffee Nazi and will drink it. There's also ones that are kind of tea bag style, so you just steep. Those taste a little better than the like kind of freeze dried instant coffee stuff, but not enough to make them worth it. So yeah, we just bring the little packets and pour it right in the boiling water now. I don't make the coffee. That's Erin's job. I haul the tent. That's our arrangement. The tent goes in my bag and she makes the coffee in the morning. And it's nice because I'm the last one to get up. I'm a quick packer, so I could be packed in time to leave when everyone else does. But I sleep in longer in the tent. I sleep good in morning, and Large and Aaron tend to get up pretty early. So they might be up at 6 or 7, and I'll be up at like 8 or 9, and we'll be on the road at like 9:30, 10. But I will actually say something usually from my tent. Like, I'll say, coffee time, and Aaron will start making my coffee. So, or get my coffee, eat a bar. If they have a fire going, I'll be there for sitting there just till I could sip it, and I'll pack on my tent while I'm drinking my coffee. So, yeah. What if you require an iron lung? Panagonia makes bags out of recycled material. Yeah. Tyvek is what. Yeah. Sea to Summit. Sea to Summit is what my dry bags are, but it's not what my sleeping bag is. So I have Sea to Summit stuff for my dry bags. Malk said, after traveling through his latest stealth camping video, you're expecting him to wake up one morning and find him in the backyard. Too bad he's not in here tonight. He often is. So, Thermarest? No, I have a car camping mat that I absolutely love. It doesn't pack down small enough to bring on the bike, but I do use that when I'm like not bike packing as Thermarest. Eddie, what time is it that you would make an AeroPress for yourself right now? I only have my cups of coffee in the morning. I don't drink coffee at all later in the day. Use bikes, you're joking about the iron lung. Yeah, I think we're pretty good on that in the polio thing. So I took it as a joke. Yeah. Malk said, what if you have a wet footprint in the morning? No, we don't wait for it to dry. If we're up in enough time, like Large will have his hanging from a tree, stuff like that. We do bring lines now too, and even in the evening, like we go swimming and stuff, we'll hang our stuff up out on line overnight. But yeah, in the morning you might hang it up, hope it gets some sun. If you're in a really shady spot, might dry a little bit. But really putting stuff on the back of the bike is the key, I think, to trying to dry the stuff that got damp. James asked, neatly fold or just stuff your gear in the sack? So I mostly don't bring bags, like the original bag stuff came in, because I'm like, then I'm just putting bags in bags. Stuff I really do want to keep dry when there's a chance of rain, I do bring like those Sea to Summit. They're waterproof bags, but they're super, super thin. I think they're Dyneema or something. But yeah, I'm not like, because like the down quilt, you just stuff in as hard as you can and then roll it up as tight as you can, push the air out. If you're using synthetic sleeping bags or quilts, the compression sacks are a good idea because you could really get a lot of the space out of there. But yeah, I'm not overly organized. I don't want my clothes to be like just in balls, so I do kind of fold my shirts and then roll them. But you know, when you're on day 5 of a bike tour, some of that stuff goes out the window. I'm not extremely anal. I could only imagine what it'd be like if I went bike packing with Dave here. Inksley said pack the fly and the footprint separately. Yeah. And I'll leave so I use panniers on this trip. Depends on what your bags are like. Certain bags I'll leave like cracked during the day too, so they're breathing. So I'm not packing. So so in Ohio, like a lot of our stuff in the morning is just wet from dew. No matter what, your rain fly is wet even if it wasn't rainy at all. So if I do need to put it in a bag or stuff that got damp in a bag, I just leave the bags open a little bit if that's a possibility. So. I said you had a rainstorm a couple months ago, 300 millimeters in 12 hours. Yeah, we've been lucky. It's rained a lot overnight or rained a lot when we were out on the road. But like during like the time around the fire or in the morning, it's just been really, really lucky. So. Swift Coffee out of PA is awesome. Small Planes from DC. Instant coffee is money. Yeah, because instant coffee is, when you think of what it used to be, it was trash, and it's just so much better now. Yeah, so Kevin said instant coffee is nice and simple. AeroPress for coffee outside. Same, yeah, we do the AeroPress for coffee outside, too. Yeah, I mean, we buy, like you said, you don't mind roughing it by not having gourmet coffee, Cycling Brian. Like, we're still buying the better brands to have it taste as good as possible. But like I said, it's not a pour over for sure. And Lane said, it takes you like 3 hours to pack your bike, but you're new to bike packing. Yeah. I'm just super quick and efficient because I know I like to sleep in a little bit more than everybody I'm with. You're like our friend Funny Brad. He's the first one who starts packing, and he's the last one to roll out of camp. I don't know how he's. It's amazing to watch, and super frustrating. we gotta get up out of here. It's 11 o'clock. See if I can get through. Oh, Eddie said you're a liar. Too late for coffee. Yeah. Yeah, Malk said it's usually. I agree with this. It's usually recommended not to fold because you don't want to crease that like expensive material. I do a lot more rolling. I don't know. I think that's naturally what I've done. It depends on what it is. Like, but the tent material, the footprint is more like rolled up. Um, Clothes I do, like I said, fold and roll a little bit. Sleeping pad doesn't like I do an inflatable one. It doesn't matter that you fold that because that's that thicker, rubbery material. But yeah, I do not fold my tent stuff tight. And also when I'm at home, everything sits in a cabinet and none of it's like compressed. None of it's in its bag. It's all very loose when it's just hanging out here, especially the down. You don't want that to stay compressed all the time. Yeah, trash bag, good cheap solution. Like I said, I've switched to buying a couple of the, Sea to Summit dry bags, but I just like not buying plastic. Trying to limit that. I don't have plastic bags here, so I'd have to go out of my way to get them. So I'd rather buy the reusable stuff, but I'm not getting in your face about this, or whatever the right way to say that is. I used to use trash bags, and I still bring Ziploc bags for the camera stuff sometimes, or my electronics. I will bring a freezer bag for my because I'm traveling with the GoPro, a camera, and stuff like that. So I have all those little batteries and the extra batteries to charge the phone and all the other stuff if we're not going to hit somewhere with charging. So yeah, I would still use a freezer bag for that. Tim does aircraft said Starbucks buys are not bad and you're a snob. I haven't tried the Starbucks ones. Aaron's good about ordering ahead of time, so usually going to try a brand that she is interested in. Oh, and Lighton, you said you're tented up right now, and looking like gonna storm for a few days. You're in a good spot though. Yeah, when you guys were talking earlier about Maryland and stuff, I follow like the Gap and CNO on Facebook, and people were talking about like, yeah, just like I was saying about Carlsbad. I guess the last week or two has been just like that nonstop rain. So yeah, like with the hurricane and all that. None of you weight weenies are packing cast iron Dutch ovens then? No. So, saying I don't like plastic is like I said, I know I'm not perfect. So when we actually did like a true bike packing trip, like when we were on the NCT in Michigan this year, we did the camp meal things, the freeze-dried meals where you do boiling water and pour them into the bags and let them sit. Not crazy about that, but and they're always too salty. I have found with the freeze-dried meal, the best kind of dishes to get are pasta dishes because that's how you cook pasta anyways. So I'm starting to buy the ones that are pasta based, but the breakfast ones are good too because that's how you kind of cook oatmeal and dried fruit and all that stuff. But yeah, so I am not a gourmet camp cooker. Don't haul a bunch of stuff, but in general, when we're on tour, we try to stop if we're not out in the woods at like cool breweries or restaurants that we looked up beforehand, and then snacks to get you in between. Like I said, in Michigan, we really were bike packing. You're getting into campsite and there's nothing around, so it was cooking camp meals. So. What's up, Dr. Bob? For bike packing, you use the paper filters and the plastic cone it fits in. Attach them under a seat bag with the mug. When staying at the same site, use a stainless steel French press. Yeah. Yeah, I have a percolator that I used for like canoe camping and car camping. Well, Dave, remember when we were canoeing? We were trying to make that percolator work. But yeah, the instant coffee, man. That's just the way to go. For me. Well, for whatever Aaron's going to do, because I'm not going to do it. When I went camping with Dylan and the other Ed a couple weeks ago, Labor Day weekend, I had actually never used the camp stove myself. Aaron sent me with the camp stove and the thing, and I was making the coffee in the morning, and I was making all the jokes. I'm like, Dylan, stand behind me and help me operate this thing. Yinzer said caffeine gum. Huh. Yeah, I could see if I had a caffeine headache and because I am an addict and I needed it, but I'd probably try and buy a pop before that or something if it was a possibility. But to me, there's also a thing about drinking coffee. Like, I do need the caffeine, but it's the hot, me and Dave worked on a farm together. It'd be 92 degrees and humid, and we'd just come in from like hand picking in the field, and it would be breakfast time, and we're drinking hot coffee. Like, that's just, I drink hot coffee no matter what. Like, I think we're about to wrap up. I know everyone's commenting a lot, which I love, but gonna have to chop it off at some point. It's 11. Yeah, it's after 11. So, Derpler said, happy you're enjoying the Mac. Finally got on a nice ride today. First one in a while that you pushed. Amazing how a ride can make life seem okay. Yeah, 100%. That's how I felt this afternoon. I'm like, me and Dave are going to do some work later. I'm going to do the live stream tonight. And I was kind of in the middle of things. I'm like, just get out for a little bit. Like, find a reason to get out. Picking up the saddle that was in the thumbnail was my excuse. So, yeah, I know what you mean. Second Brian said, done plenty of camping percolators over the year, but never taken one on your bike. Yeah, same. Like, I have mine, but it's never gone on the bike. I like percolators. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the farm. We always used a percolator. So, hey, Rigda, what's up? Oh, glad you were around. Yeah. Probably next see you at the Heck of the North. Hopefully before then, but Rigda was up at the Hodag Country Ramble as well. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining, as always. Like I said, do have a new video tomorrow. Have a video also coming out about bike lights, which I've made twice, and I've messed up the audio on one and the video on the other, so we'll try it again. Got a bunch of great bike lights that I love, and I do want to show them and talk about them as now we're getting into the dark season. Maybe that I messed up is good because the time is even better for them, but yeah. All right, guys. Dimitri later. Less than Rocket, see you on Saturday. Cool.
See myself on your YouTube. Okay, bye.
All right.
Cause
Yeah.
this is not a mistake.
Fitzwater photo.